Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Darkest Dungeon 2. My name is Britishbrat, and today we're going to be having a little bit of fun. We're going to do something a little bit different, but first and foremost, if you want to make sure you don't miss any of that Darkest Dungeon 2 content, definitely consider subscribing to the channel, so that way you catch all of my videos offline and my streams, which I do stream twice a week, Saturday and Sunday, so make sure that you're there. What are we going to be doing different with this run? Well, we are in Act 1 Denial, which is going to be a shorter run for sure. But what I'm planning on doing with this run is I'm going to over-explain everything that I do. At least I'm going to try my best to do it. So the reason I'm picking Denial is because I'm hoping that I can kind of drag it out by talking a bit more. But I know a lot of people like to know my thought process behind things and actually listen to why I'm picking one move over the other, what my plans are, etc., etc. So that's why we're also starting on the crossroads, so you can actually see me build a team. This is something I don't normally do in my videos because it takes up quite a bit of time, but we'll see if this is something that you guys like. If you enjoyed this kind of over-explained video and you want me to do a bit more of these kinds of videos, then leave a comment down below. Leave a like on the video. A comment and a like are the best ways to let me know that this is something that you enjoy. The videos that get lots more likes, I know, hey, people really like that kind of video, so we'll go ahead and go for that. So as far as what we're going to do here, I may talk a lot more, so I'm going to try not to swallow so much. We need to build a team that is going to work best for this act. Now, a lot of times, if you're brand new to the game, you're not going to know what's best. You can look things up on the wiki if you want. But for me, I already know. I've experienced this game plenty of times. So we're going to do something that I don't normally do, which is build a team for the final boss. Now, I don't always recommend building a team that is like a one-trick pony, per se. But you do need to keep in mind, if you're trying to win the run, you do have to build a team. Like, most teams can get to the final boss pretty effectively if you're smart about how you play. It's beating the final boss that is the thing your team needs to be very custom made for, especially on Act 2. But with Act 1, there are definitely some things that we're going to have to take into account. So the main gimmick with Act 1, as most of us know, is its ability to lock you out of a certain skill set, right? It's either melee moves, ranged moves, stress healing, or regular health healing. Now, the healing ones I'm not as worried about generally, because I'm not going to be healing every move. I'm going to be healing every so often. But I am going to be trying to do damage every round. Pretty much every round I'm going to want to do damage. So I need a team that can either kill things very quickly with one form of damage, and I can just get rid of the melee or the range lock depending on which one I'm focusing on. Or, in my opinion, what is better is to have a team of heroes that can do both ranged and melee damage, and that way you can always do some damage no matter what. And I think that's the best way to deal with it. Now, the secondary biggest issue that we're going to deal with this fight is going to be its ability to stun us. Every single one of the locks can stun. And if you want a bit more of a guide on the Act 1 boss itself, I do have a full guide on that boss specifically. You can definitely check that out. I'll try to link it in the description. I will probably forget. But I do have a series of guides, and you can check that out to kind of get a full depth of just the boss. But stunning is its main other gimmick that it does. It likes every single lock can stun you. It doesn't need to daze and then stun you. It just stuns you. So stun locking can be something that happens to you. We don't have as many ways to counter that easily. Like, I can't just pick a team that is super stun resistant. The only person currently that really has a very good stun resistance, outside of somebody who might have like a trait that gives you good stun resistance or a quirk, is going to be the Alchemist Plague Doctor. As you can see, she goes from 10 stun resist, well, you can't see because my face is in the way, but she goes from 10 stun resist base to 60 stun resist. She gets that 50% stun resist over here as part of this path. This will probably not remain for very long. I can imagine this will be one of the paths that gets reworked, but for now, this is one of the better heroes to take this on. There, other heroes have decent stun resists, but for the most part, it's not something I like to plan around. I don't like to take heroes just for their stun resist in this case. I find it easier to find another way to deal with stun resist, and that's either going to be through trinkets that can help, like Anchoring Charm or something like that, or it's going to be through poultices, through the Clarifying Poultice. There's also like some food that can help with that. Again, there are some quirks that can help with that. But the stun is kind of the secondary thing I'm going to deal with. I can find ways like combat items that can remove stun, like Smelling Salts can help with that. Or I can use things like abilities, like Encore can help us get extra actions, Again can help us get extra actions, or I can use something like Indiscriminate Science, or Confessor. Is it Confessor Vestal, I believe it is, that actually allows us to get rid of negative tokens on Mantra. Yes, So Mantra can also help us with that as well, though it's not as targeted, so you might not get rid of the stun, but it's likely that you're going to get rid of it when this is upgraded. So a couple different things that we can take into account there. So let's start building this team out. Generally, my thing with teams is I need some damage dealers, I need a stress healer, and I need a healer. I'm going to be drinking a lot during this run because I'm going to be talking a lot. So one of my favorite heroes to take for something like this is definitely going to be the Highwayman. He's basically the definition of ranged and melee damage put together, right? He's going to have things like Wicked Hack, Pistol Shot, Open Vein. Like, he's got a slew of different abilities that will help him kind of do both ranged and melee damage. I'm probably going to go with the Rogue path on him. He does have Iron Constitution, who gives him a different additional health, which is really nice. But this just allows us to give really focus on his Riposte, which is something I think is important because Riposte is basically free damage. Even if he's locked out of doing melee or something like that, we can have that Riposte as a backup to kind of do a damage no matter what, right? So that's something that's really useful. And this also doesn't negatively affect his ranged abilities. So while it is more focused on things like his ability to do Riposte and things like that, really he can do damage in a multitude of different ways. So we can use things like Pistol Shot, we can use Duelist Advance. We're probably not going to because we kind of want to keep him in the back, but we can use Take Aim to generate Riposte, which is actually really good as well. And then we can use Wicked Slice or Open Vein. Probably go for Wicked Slice, or we can use Double Cross. I like both of these abilities. They're both pretty good. And then we can use something like Tracking Shot, or maybe even Grape Shot Blast. Grape Shot Blast requires him to be up front, so maybe Double Tap. Double Tap is a good option here. So this gives him both ranged and melee damage. Makes him pretty useful in that sense as well. Now this one does move him forward too, so we wanted to use Duelist Advance on Rogue. That's kind of where that breaks down a little bit. So we have to keep that in mind. So next, I'm going to look at another hero that might be able to do kind of a mix of ranged or melee damage. And then we can talk about a stress healer, and we can talk about a healer. So I like Grave Robber for this as well. Grave Robber, even on just Wanderer, is actually a really good option here because she can do Pick to the Face, which in my opinion, is one of the best melee attacks in the game. Ignoring block just makes it so useful. Then we can also do Thrown Dagger, which ignores guard. Base just ignores guard, makes her really useful against the militia fights. So that's cool. She's got self-healing, which is really good. We can go with some Absinthe, maybe. And then, so she's got a range, she's got a melee. We can think about maybe doing, like, Flashing Daggers or something like that. And then we can swap around. Dead of Night won't be useful in the final fight, so we could maybe go for a Repartee build, kind of build her as something as a bit more tanky, but I think this is going to be pretty good for us. Next, I'm probably going to go for, I think, the Mana Arms. At the end of the day, we're going to end up with the base team here. This is the team I'm going to go with, or a version of the base team, because I think this is just a really, really solid team. We're going to play with Wanderer here, which, in my opinion, Wanderer on a lot of these reworked paths has become like the meta way to play a lot of these heroes. It just gives you the most flexibility, and this is a fight that's all about flexibility. So I'm going to go for Crush here. This gives us a good amount of reach on his damage. We're also going to go Bolster, so he's going to be our primary stress healer. That makes him pretty useful. Now, we do have a ranged attack in Bellow, so it's good to have this, even though it's maybe not always super useful. I mean, lowering speed is a very good thing for us to have. And then I'm probably going to go for Standfast. I want him to be our primary tank. And could go for Hold the Line. This will allow us to push him forward if he does get moved back. But maybe Defender. We have some squishy heroes, so Defender's a good option. And then, of course, we have our back row damage Alchemist here. I'm just going to say this path is still very broken. Now, I could go for Surgeon and allow her to get Incision as well. That is definitely a decent option for us. This is going to be the one hero that maybe isn't the best built for this. Now, if I really wanted to, I would go for something like this, but then he loses his ability to do any realistic melee damage. So I'm going to take this into account and be okay with the fact that she's going to only have ranged abilities. That being said, she will have healing abilities, which does give her some options as well. And then, you know, maybe we can go for Emboldening Vapors or something. This gives us an option that isn't ranged, that's a support ability, so it allows her to at least click a button when she's locked out of her abilities. So I think overall this is a really solid team. This gives us everything that we're looking for. So let's get into it, and just hopefully we don't die before we get to the final boss. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take the Valley fight here. Oh, look at that. Darkest Dungeon 2 is currently on sale on Steam. 40% off. Very cool. Super cool. Oh, there's some new artwork too. I know I shouldn't be doing this on a recording, but a little bit of artwork there. I like that. That's super cool. It goes until November 6th, so if you're watching this before November 6th, you should go check it out if you already bought the game. So we're going to go ahead and fight our Valley fight first. Now, to keep things fair here, I have not rolled any items to start off with this run. So this will be as close to kind of a base run as you can get. The only difference between what you start with here is that I have all the abilities unlocked. So that does make a difference, obviously. I'm listening to my washing machine go. It is over-explaining my washing machine. I don't want it exploding on me. So we got our first fight here. This is a really good fight. Even if it... Oh, this is actually probably the worst one that you can get out of all the combinations of first fights. Double Widow, Woodsman is pretty rough. But this fight is always kind of a good litmus test for the rest of your run. You can really start to figure out if things are going to work well for you, if you're going to struggle a lot, if your team just has really, really rough synergies. Like, this is the time for you to figure it out. And sometimes there are times where I get to this point and I go, this just isn't the team. This is not it. Something isn't feeling right. It's feeling off. A lot of times that'll just mean I have to swap some abilities or maybe some positioning around, but there's no harm or foul in getting to the end after this and just going, nope, time to reset, time to build a different team, and that's totally, totally fine here. I don't think I have any memories of any of my heroes, right? I just want to make sure that we're fully clear of anything like that. You see, Thrown Dagger not doing too much damage here, but it is enough to do some damage, and that is really what matters. Once we get some of those abilities upgraded, we'll be feeling pretty good. So I focused on the Widows there just because they are the most irritating enemy. While this guy can do more damage, two Widows can basically give horror to everybody on your team very, very quickly, and that can cause a lot of problems. Even for the first fight, you can end up just being in a really rough position, and that's definitely not something you want. So the Woodsman, yes, he does damage. Yes, there's also a chance he can give you a disease, which is pretty bad, but no diseases in the Valley. That's not a thing anymore. It used to be a thing at one point in the game, but you can't get diseases in the Valley anymore, so you never have to worry about that. Unless, caveat to that, unless you have Hypochondriac. Hypochondriac can give you diseases in the end. So 5 to 10 damage there, definitely in the first fight. Go ahead and take that. I did get a low roll there, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. I don't have any execution moves, so I'll just go a pig to the face. And yeah, execution is something I don't really use often enough. I should maybe think about using Glint in the Dark or something like that to actually get some execution. But we do get our 5 mastery points here and our money, so we have quite a few mastery points to spend. This is the benefit of being in Act 1. If you're playing any of the other acts, you will notice you only get 2 mastery points from the first fight there, not 5, so don't be counting on that. This is definitely what most people would consider the tutorial region. This is the intro region for a reason. So we started off with some impermeable poultice there, which could be pretty good for us. Now, on Act 1, we are only going to have 2 choices of regions. You can only get the Tangle, and you can only get the Sprawl. I don't even think the Sluice can spawn on these runs. So that means that pretty much I have to think of one or the other. The other benefit of Act 1 is I do not need to take on a Lair fight. Though this team would do very effectively against a Lair fight, it's not something I'm really going to focus. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to figure out what way I want to go. Personally, I find picking the route is the smartest strategy, because it's going to kind of determine what you want to buy from the provisioner, right? There's going to be, if I'm going to the Sprawl, I might want to get some burn resistance items. If I'm going to the Tangle, maybe I want some items that can help speed me up or allow me to ether block or something like that. There's different things that I'm going to want. It also allows me to kind of figure out if there's a Lair boss, which I'm not going to go for. But if I did need to go for a Lair boss, I can really start to figure out what items I want to use and which ones maybe I want to save, which is all important stuff. So let's take a look at what the negative or the modifier is on this one, and that's going to be enemies have a higher advantage in battle. That can be pretty rough, and there's no Hoarders here, okay? So the Hoarders I don't really care about. That's a non-issue for me at this point, but enemy advantage is detrimental. I mean, you know, getting ambushed or having frenzied enemies, I mean, it's all pretty bad. Especially in an area like the Tangle, where those foot soldiers, when they're frenzied, oh boy, that's a lot of damage. So let's take a look at what the quest is, or the goal. The goal is Fog of War here, so avoid the Watchtower, I get a mastery point. That's pretty nice. That's a very easy thing to do for a mastery point. Or I can go for In the Light, keep the flame of 40+, and I get the Merchant's Guild seal. Merchant's Guild Seal is really powerful, but I'm thinking that a mastery point is just more potent for us, especially on a shorter condensed run like this. I'm not going to get as much value out of Merchant's Guild Seal. So let's go for the Tangle. I think that enemy advantage chance is low enough that I'm not going to worry about it too much. At this point now, I'm going to take a look at our mastery points. So let's see. What is it that I need the most? Well, stress healing is always paramount, I think, if you want a team to succeed, and we only have one real stress healing ability, so we're going to go ahead and upgrade that. The next thing is going to be healing. I always think about healing and stress healing first, then I focus on damage. Generally speaking, the first region, you don't need the damage that much because you're much less likely to run into ordained enemies where they have that additional health. And they're also going to do less damage. So you don't need the damage as much early on unless you're going for an early layer. So for me, right now, my main focus is going to be support abilities. Normally, I would only have 2 mastery points. That makes it a lot more of like a what do I need. But in this case, I have 5. It gives me a bit more leeway. That being said, I'm definitely going to go for IS. Indiscriminate Science being upgraded just makes all the difference because it basically doubles how potent it is. I can get healing on both negative and positive tokens, and I can remove the negative tokens, which is the real power in that one. Then from here, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade some of my primary damage abilities, I think. I'm going to upgrade Take Aim because this gives us plus 25% damage on our riposte skills. That's really cool. Then I'm going to upgrade Thrown Dagger because I'm going to be using this ability a lot, and I definitely want it to be hitting for some damage. Stand Fast for the Block Plus, that's going to mitigate a lot of damage, and that's also very important. Now we're going to take a look at the Provisioner. So, let's think about what it is that we need here. So there's something that's really interesting to me. I need to be thinking about the final boss. Anchoring Charm is one of the better things that I definitely want to take for that boss. So, I don't have many baubles. I don't think bottle cases do much for us. It can give us concoctions and powders. It does not give us poultices. Poultices are the thing that we want, which is for the clarifying poultices. I'm going to go for that anchoring charm, right? That's going to give us a hero that we can put on. It's really very good on him. He already has 50% stun resist, but this puts him to 70%. That makes him very potent at being able to resist the stun. I should also probably pick a pet first and foremost here. I don't really have anything going on the stagecoach that makes me want to pick a specific pet quite yet. So, what do I want to go for here? I could increase our relationship chances, which are good. I could go for the medical gear here and then use that to get the instant 10% bonus that Pygmy Pliskin is going to give us, which can make our healing much more potent early on. And that's probably what I'm going to go ahead and do. I think that's pretty potent. Or, that being said, though, I could just go for the Protectorate and get 15% healing given from skills, right, which is more potent. And then I could go for something like the Wolf Club, which gives us an initial, immediate 10% positive relationship chance. So I think that's a better option. It's not perfect, but it's fine. Protectorate here, minusing our damage. I don't really care about the damage on Noxious Blast and Plague Grenade. It's very low damage. I care about the dots. So because the dots aren't affected by that, the healing bonus there is really, really nice. Go ahead and put this pet on. Now, food is definitely something I need to make sure I get. Always grab food if you can. As far as Steak and Spuds go, this one lowers our speed. It does give us that move resist as well. It gives us plus 30% health. The lowered speed, I do not mind Barristan getting that. Everybody else gets apples and cheese, which is just basically the best overall food in the game, I think, as far as easy to access food. Now let's think about items that we might want. I usually will take 2 glimmers just because I'm really bad about maintaining my torchlight, and getting low torch can be really negative. I'm not super worried about our stress, honestly, on this team. So from here, I gotta think about if there's anything that I really want to take for the next region. I'm gonna grab these 2 whiskey flasks. Right now, I don't care about relationships in the first inn. The first inn, everybody's gonna have a 0 chance at relationships unless I start messing with them, or they have an outlandish amount of things modifying relationships. But I am gonna have the ability to change that in the next inn. Now, the next inn's most likely only gonna have 2 whiskey. So if I buy the whiskey here and I take it to the next inn, I'll have 4 whiskey. That gives me a lot more control. A lot of people who are on that cusp are going to be able to go up or down depending on where I need them up. So I think that's going to give me the most control. So let's go to the Tangle and let's see how we do. Like I said, no relationships here in the first region, so not something I need to worry about. Relationship management can be a really big pain in the butt, so... especially if you're a new player and you don't have all the items. So I know being able to just don't mess with it in the first inn. It's just not worth it. Okay, so let's take a look at routing here and what it is that we want from this region. I don't really care about the Lair. So the Lair is always going to be scouted. I don't care about it. So let's take a look at the other things that we have scouted here. We've got some candles. We could go this route. If we're going to pick one here, I'm probably going to go to the left because this or this, it doesn't really make a big difference to me. Of course, they do have different benefits when they are at their full strength. So if you want to start with that block, that's really important to you, then stick to the right side here. If you want to start with that healing over time, which I would say the healing is probably more potent, then you probably want to keep the wheels. Taking a look up here, though, we do have a Hoarder. It's a little too early for me to be able to get any value out of the Hoarder, if I'm entirely honest. What was the condition again? I have to avoid the Watchtower. So that's something I needed to keep in mind, because I was about to say let's go to the Watchtower, because we do get that additional speed buff, plus we can scout the rest of this. But for a mastery point, I can go to this question mark and probably figure it out from there. Or I could go to this Shambler's Altar. I don't want to go to a Shambler's Altar. I do not have a team that's going to work very well this early on against the Shambler. This is actually a decent team for a Shambler, but I'm here to actually provide a video where I get a win. So we're going to skip that. So that was good scouting. We're going to go for the left here, then up the middle, then the left again. We'll go through the Lair. That's fine. And then from there, I'll just decide if I want to go to the Resistance encounter or the Hospital, and then we go to the final fight. So good thing we've got our routing out of the way. And for me, I'm always big about making sure I try to get all the debris. I've definitely had getting the debris make a big difference in having just the amount of relics I need in order to get something. You never know what you're going to pick up, and it just keeps me entertained while I'm going through. I know some people don't care about the debris. That's totally fine. That's how you want to play it. Unless you're running slime. If you're running slime and you're not trying to purposely get every bit of debris that you can, you're out of luck. We did get a couple items there, and we get the Academics Cache here. This is always a nice thing to find. It's just basically free stuff. Very fun items here. So we got some money. That's good. Spike Ball is great. Ablative Powders is actually going to be good for us because we know that we're going to be getting a Sprawl in the next region, so I'm fine with that. Whiskey Bottle helps our relationships. We get some free food. Free food is great because I almost always buy food here, so that's basically 16 relics just saved off the bat. Academics Map is basically, I don't really care. Excuse me. And then Stone Mount, which I do care about. Now, Stone Mount can be very useful. Actually, just noticed I'm using Double Cross. I won't be able to use Double Cross from this position. So maybe we don't use Double Cross. Maybe we go for Highway Robbery or Tracking Shot. Tracking Shot could be good. This can line us up for some crits on Audrey. But that being said, let's think about where Stone Mount is going to go. Now, I've already gone ahead and upgraded Standfast, so it's maybe not amazing here, but it does help us with his use of Defender. This will make Defender give him Block Plus instead of giving him Block. That's pretty good, in my opinion. That's one of the more potent early trinkets that you can get. Stone Mount is really, really powerful. Same thing goes for Parrying Patriarch as well. Okay, so we do have our first fight here, and we are already suffering from the fact that we did pick that disadvantage that gave enemies a higher chance to have the advantage. This is elite enemies. They get more health, more damage, and more speed. Basically, this is mini ordainment. So, first thing I'm going to do is think about threat mitigation. So we have the Watchdog, which is very annoying, or the Mongrel, because he can do Watchdog. It makes him basically able to guard and get a riposte. It's annoying. That being said, I can deal with a riposte using Bellow, and right now he hasn't started with Watchdog. I would normally say the Firemouth is one of the targets I really want to focus, but the Firemouth is blind, so maybe I want to hedge my bets on her remaining blind. And then that leaves the Pillager Crackshot and the Pillager Hatchman. So he has 22 health, she has 18 health. So I could go for something like I could go for Tracking Shot and use Tracking Shot to try and then get a crit Thrown Dagger, which would do, I think, like 12 damage or something like that. It's definitely a lot of damage, and that would probably end up meaning that my Plague Doctor can get the kill. So let's see if we can go for that. At least try to play into our strengths here. So 80% chance to crit, 12 damage. That's very good. Now, he's probably going to go ahead and get Front Mortar here. But we do have that Anchoring Charm, so alas, we didn't resist the stun, but we did resist the move, which is totally fine. But Plague Grenade allows us to basically go ahead and now have killed this hero, or this enemy, sorry. And hopefully the Firemouth misses this shot. There we go, so we did get that blind, that's awesome. That did come from the Torchlight, by the way. That's why we like keeping the Torchlight up. So we did lose an action here, and then she immediately gets her own action. That's unfortunate. Already I'm thinking that he's pretty low on health. But that being said, I think our priority is going to be removing the back row. They are now both dead. That's really good for us. And we can start focusing elsewhere. So, gonna go ahead and take the risk here. Reason being is that he's likely... Oh, wow. Okay. That's a really rough start. Lots of crits going for us right there. Ooh, boy. I wanted to get rid of the mongrel pretty quickly because of the fact that I thought he was going to guard here. It's going to make us really hard to kill. 6 damage, 8 damage. Let's get the kill there. And then he just crits for 9. Fantastic. We love that. Little bit rough here, so I'm not going to go ahead and use Defender or Bellow or anything like that. I'm just going to go ahead. I might just Bolster. This will give him some block plus, which is good. And we are going to be able to heal him up here. So let's just start going for some damage here on the front. We will go ahead and get that Battlefield Medicine going. Now, I could go for Tracking Shot and then let him heal with Crush. Can I get a kill here? No, I actually can't get a kill here because, again, I've given him more melee abilities that I can't use in this position. I'm over-talking really fantastic about how he can do, like, these ranged and melee attacks, but the only melee attack he can do is Open Vein. I need to swap him from Wicked Slice. That's my bad. That's my own bad. We'll go ahead. We'll just get the Tracking Shot down. Hey, even after as many hours as I've had in this game, I still make mistakes like that, so it is what it is. We'll use that Crush, though, and get that heal. So we've already recovered him back up like 50%. That's really strong. And then that Block Plus coming in clutch there, allowing us to get the good amount there. And then basically at this point, we're just going to go ahead and try to kill where we can. Dog is still going. I'm going to go for the Tracking Shot again, because we're basically going to hit here with the Man-at-Arms just to get his health back all the way. Especially because Finishing Blow is about to do a good amount of damage there. And now we can do Crush, get the kill, get the heal. Yeah, so we've recovered decently from a pretty rough start on that fight there. Let's go ahead and get a heal here on the Grave Robber. Always trying to keep my health up as much as possible, because you never know when that extra little bit of health is going to make all the difference that you need. Yeah, I definitely need to switch to Open Vein so I can actually do some damage from up front here. Probably could have gone for Tracking Shot again there just to, you know, cause him to actually get some healing here, but alas, it is what we've got, so. And now we're just stuck being able to do Tracking Shot. And at least we get the crit there, so. Not my smoothest first fight for a, hey, I'm here to tell you how to play the game kind of deal. Ooh, they get a nice little trinket, though. These early trinkets, these vague trinkets, they're all good. They're good. They're better than nothing, you know, in like 80% of the time. So, you know, don't sleep on them. Let's go ahead and swap that for that. Okay. Minor Gilded Mind. So this will help us with some stress resist. Who do we want this on? Let's go ahead and toss it on Audrey. She's more likely to be hit, being that she's up front, and also I just really want to make sure that Dismas and Paracelsus don't get their debuff resist lowered. I like them just having the ability to kind of make sure that they can hit their damage. Especially Paracelsus. I don't want her missing her hits because her damage is so potent for us. Now, in this instance, we end up with one decision, so there's really not much choice here. They're going to disagree no matter what I do. So my decision is either I leave or I heal the 3 stress that he has. Either way, it's going to do the same thing for our relationship, so we might as well take the one that at least gives us some positive for that downside. We did get an item from this, and the reason that we got this Mineral Rich Spring Water from that is because of the fact, I don't need those ablative powders, we're not going to use them in this area, is because of the fact that I have unlocked that upgrade at the Altar of Hope. So that's where that comes from. Excuse me while I scratch my ear quickly off camera, because that's gross. You don't want to see that on camera. Now, we said we're going to go to the left here. I don't really think that the Hoarder is going to be able to give us much with 26 relics and 29 baubles, so it's kind of a wasted region, area, whatever the case is. We do have an academic study. Now, the map will scout itself. The moment you make your decision, the map scouts. So you do have that kind of split second to be like, okay, now I need to figure out what I'm going to be doing here. So this is basically just something that can give us a quirk or an item. I do not have the quirks and items memorized. I probably should. I think as far as the trinket here, you can get the Caked Palette, which allows us to copy positive trinkets or positive things. But either way, we end up with the same option here. So you can always hit the Alt key. I don't know what it is on console, and they'll give you a bit more of a description if you don't know what these symbols down there mean, but we're going to get a positive quirk, a mixed quirk, and stress up or down. Let's go ahead and just pick one of them. Cosmic Hater. That's not a bad one at all. So Cosmic Hater will give us less damage taken, deal more damage, and we can actually lower our stress when we hit something that's cosmic. So that makes us very good for the final fight. This is not a quirk that I would normally lock in, but it can be one that you might want to. Like, if you can get a whole team of Cosmic Haters, you're going to find that the final fights, especially on something like the Beacon Infernal Torch, the Bad Word Beacon Torch, you might find that having that minus 20% damage is huge. Now, we do have the Lair here. I have no intent of taking on the Lair boss at this point in this run, but the Lair is a forced fight. So there is an option here to maybe take both of the first two fights and get the relics and the baubles. It'll give us a total of 16 of each, I do believe, unless there's something crazy. So that could be very useful for us, especially on a short run like this, where having even a little bit of money can go a long way. So we'll basically, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to see how the fights go. If I feel really confident by the end of this fight, then I might just go ahead and take the next one and get the extra money and then leave before the final fight. As far as threats go here, we do have an arbalist. This is probably our highest threat enemy. That being said, the Lost Soul is also very threatening because of the fact that he can give us pretty much any disease in the game, and I definitely don't want to get a disease. Now, we do have a pretty decent way of mitigating. She ignores the block here, which makes her very, very useful in that sense. But I'm probably just going to go for the Lost Soul here. I think we have a decent chance of being able to get the kill on him pretty quick, and that's going to set us up for success. I probably should have gone for Standfast there, but we'll go ahead. We'll just get the kill. He's going first anyway, so that's going to set us up really well here. Just to not get a disease. I don't want to get a disease. Diseases are bad. So let's go ahead and just toss in some Blight in the back here. And there's Piercing Bolt. So one of the more annoying abilities in the game, but it isn't the serrated one, which gives us bleed. That would be more detrimental in my opinion. So we can't gain block on him. That's fine. No block for him. Absolutely A-okay in my book. So let's go ahead. We'll just toss some damage in the back. I think the Arbalist is definitely more of a threat for us initially. And then from here, we'll just go ahead and Open Vein. Reason I'm doing Open Vein is because, again, I care more about the dot than I do about the physical damage there. And so it peels off a block token. He's not going to do much physical damage, but at least he does land the dot. So he's basically doing, you know, a decent amount of damage there. That kills the Arbalist for us. We'll go ahead and stand fast here just to get the damage into the tank, so we don't have to worry about him getting hit another couple times here. Now, I'll take 2 damage over 2 damage or 2 damage over 8 damage over any day. Again, we took a total of 4 there instead of 16. That's, you know, 4 times less damage. I'm definitely happy with that. How are we looking here? 6 damage here. So I'm just going to do this. This 1 damage is enough that this will now get him to Death's Door. That's fantastic. I don't need to worry about her healing at all, so I'm not going to worry about killing a corpse. I don't have anybody who I really want to use this Mineral Spring Water on, so we'll just go for the damage here. Go through that block token very, very nicely. And, again, we'll just kind of hit here. Let them... That was 1 damage away. You kind of have to think about, is the damage actually worth putting in there? Because sometimes it's not. If it doesn't get them to Death's Door before they dot out, but in this case, we were able to get the damage where we wanted it. He's now dead. So at this point, there's really no reason to do much. So I'm just going to go ahead and heal here. We might as well. Even if it's only like 1 or 2 health, that can definitely be the difference between living or dying. And then I'm not going to be able to heal of anybody else, so I'll go ahead and end the fight here. At this point, I think we're in good enough condition, so I'm going to take the additional fight. Give ourselves some additional resources. This will be a tougher fight, and we do get shuffled here, which is an unfortunate reality. So definitely not the best one for us to have gotten here. This could be a rough fight for us for sure. I definitely see this being a rough one for us. So let's kind of think about what we want to do here. I'm gonna go. Okay. All right, my dog just knocked over my trash can, and it's happening live here. It's Saturday night. Annie, why? Oh, why did you do that? Silly doggo. Okay. All right. So we're going to be getting a lot of damage in the front here because of the token here that has given him his Slay the Wounded ability. So I'm going to go ahead and Defender Audrey at the very least to mitigate some of the damage. Stone Mount's going to give him some more. This will always hit the front 2 people. So at least if it's going to hit one of them, we might as well get some riposte in it. It's really not going to give us much, but it gives us something. At this point, I can start moving the mana arms up front, I think. But yeah, so probably going to put some damage on the bishop here. He's probably one of our larger other threats. I'm going to save this item for when we really, really need it. She can't do much, so got to think about turn order here. This will put her up into rank 2. I'm just going to leave her up here for now. It's unfortunate, but we're just going to end up doing that. Toss that on, get a little bit of additional damage here, just to start tickling him down, and we can get those going there. Focus Fire doesn't really do much for us here, except give her stress. It's not going to do anything. And I'm going to go ahead and... So they're both going to take the hit here if I move him up front. So I'm only going to move him 1, because if he's guarding her, she's just going to end up taking the damage, and the guard gets bypassed. So I'd rather the damage go into the Highwayman, because I can at least heal him pretty decently. So I'm going to go ahead and put that there now. She's getting a high enough stress. Thankfully, Pick the Face does let us go through a lot of the block, which is really, really nice. And then at this point, I'm going to go ahead and just move him back, get our mana arms where we want him to be. That's okay. We're going to go ahead and heal on this turn when we get the chance. Okay, I think we're doing all right here at this point. So we'll go ahead and heal. That'll get rid of that big bleed. And I could Defender here. It's not going to do very much for us. So we got to think, he's dead. He's dead. So now, the thing I don't want to do is I don't want to put him to Death's Door before he goes. This guy gets a huge buff on Death's Door. He gets like plus 30% additional damage or something like that and a bunch of speed. We don't want to put him on Death's Door because he's just going to do his big attack and then he's going to cause us a bunch of problems. So there's a likelihood, a chance, that I can hit him to Death's Door. So I'm actually not going to hit him here. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to toss Standfast on, give him some block plus, and at least let him mitigate some of the damage that's about to come from this hit. Actually, with the bleed, too, that was pretty much guaranteed that he was going to go to Death's Door there. Dead. Well, he will be dead. It's unfortunate he gets that free action, because I was kind of hoping we could ignore the order. So at this point now, it's pretty much going to be get this guy dead as quickly as possible. And we can worry about healing later, so double tap here. Nope, we're gonna go for the kill. I would love to heal, but getting hit for another Slay the Wounded just is not in the books for me. And we get the kill there. So that was definitely a little bit more of a rough fight. And I would love to take these actions, but we're definitely not feeling great. So there's no harm in escaping. We're gonna go ahead and escape.
Recalculating one's odds is never a wasted endeavor.
All right. So now we're going to kind of rely on our healing here. At this point, I would definitely say going for this resistance encounter is not the immediately best option. It is going to lower our... We're going to get a lot of stress for this, but we can handle our stress. I would rather go this way. We got another Memories of a Dream. Okay, that's fine. Kind of annoying when we get the same one twice in a row, but hey, it is what it is. Now, we're down pretty far on the wheels, but... no matter what route I go, we're not going to get an ambush. So I don't really need to worry about that so much. Let's see what options we get here. Again, it's the same option, so we'll just go for Audrey this time. Defiant. Oh, that's fantastic. So this is one of the best quirks in the game. This one gives us a heal every round start. This is easily one of the quirks that you should absolutely be locking in every chance that you get. Because it is just so powerful. Now, we also got Smelling Salts here, which is a fantastic item. This is one of the items that we've actually want to be looking for when it comes to going up against the Act 1 boss. Alright, so we're now going. We've got a fight here. So let's take a look at this fight. So there's a likelihood that we're going to have to deal with burn in this fight because there could be a fire mouse. Let's go ahead and take a burn item. And, you know, we'll take both our burn items. And at least maybe try to get some value out of being able to heal or stress mitigate because of a burn enemy. Of course, we don't get a burn enemy. We get hasten enemies, so more than likely, we're going to get hit by a couple things pretty quick here. Did resist both of those. The Anchoring Charm coming in very, very nice for us here. let's go ahead and just put some damage into the back rows. And 3 damage pistol shot feels pretty rough. Back in the day, if you guys remember the original sharp shot, that was a whole different world back then. So we'll probably defender her at this point just to make sure that the damage from finishing blow that these guys are going to definitely try to focus into her just never happens. So that's going to be a good way for us to mitigate some of that damage. Plus, we also know where that targeting, those abilities are going to. So, oof, that's an unfortunate crit. Nice miss. We love a good miss. All right. Yeah. Go ahead and focus some damage back here again. So this guy is pretty much dead. We can guarantee it, though, such just by murdering him. And again, so instead of finishing blow doing a lot more damage, you ended up doing 1 damage there. That's really good. Is there anybody we can heal? Now, we can heal her. Probably not worth it until she actually gets the ability to be healed, so we'll just go ahead and do that. And I'll go ahead and bellow here. This will slow the enemies down and at least kind of ignore a lot of that hastened speed. And then, you know what? We'll go ahead and remove that corpse. We'll get the stealth going there. They're going to put the damage into him now anyway. And then she gets healed up out of the process. Feels pretty good. Anybody I can heal here? Nope, not without actually, not for any realistic health. So we'll just go ahead and put damage there. And this guy is now dead. So I love that. We resisted that bleed. That's always a good feeling. And now we can just go ahead and stand fast here. Want our tank to be tanking here, putting in as much damage into him as we can realistically do. Is always usually the right play. Not always the right play, but it's usually the right play. We can go ahead and open Bane here. He resisted that bleed. That's unfortunate. And we can check for any actual heals. Nothing. Let's just go for the kill. Torchlight's it's looking a little low. We may want to start using those glimmers in our next fight. But we do get a victory there. Fantastic. Awesome. So we're feeling pretty good. The only thing I'm a little short on now is definitely mastery points. So we're going to get 1 for finishing this region, but it is Act 1, so I'm not as worried about it, especially because of the fact that we start with 5. So I'm basically counting this as having 3 mastery points in this region automatically, because normally I only get 2 in the first region. So yeah, you got to take what you can get. If you want to get more mastery points, you go for more fights, but it's not guaranteed. So I would lock in Defiant, but it's, you know, I'm not really going to memory these heroes, so I'm not super stressed about it, honestly. This is where I'd be looking for clarifying poultices, of which we don't have any, so that's a bit unfortunate. But that being said, healing salve is almost always a great option to have. I mean, having any additional healing on your team is never a bad option, especially early on, especially if you're still having a team that's a little shaky. Having that healing on your team just makes all the difference in the world for just getting you out of those really sticky situations. At this point, we're going to increase our loathing by 1, and then we're going to go ahead and take the final fight for this region. The final fight for this region will be our first time seeing the altar. You will always have an altar in the cultist fights, basically. Yeah, you'll always have an altar in the rampart fights. Or is this a rampart? Yeah, rampart. So an ingress, Oblivion's ingress, is just a regular cultist fight that you're going to find is the same as a regular battle. They might not have altars, but the ramparts will always have an altar. The first one will probably have 2 evangelists, an altar, and then either a herald or a cherub. The second one will always have a deacon or a cardinal, and then the third one, if you're on Act 2, will have a deacon or a cardinal. Act 3 and beyond will have the exemplar. So it does let you kind of plan out knowing what you're going to be dealing with. So we've got 2 exemplars, a cherub, and an altar here. So the altar buff in Act 1, the Act of Denial, is going to be that enemies can randomly get a chance to stealth themselves. Very, very annoying, but not the end of the world. That being said, where do we want to put our damage? I could go for the pick to the face here. I could go for the flashing daggers. Flashing daggers gives us 1 big benefit, and that's it's going to remove block and dodge even if it doesn't hit. Or I can just go for the back row and just do a little bit of damage back here. No, I think we're just going to try for the Blight. So I'm going to remove the dodge because I want the Blight on Alchemist, on the Plague Doctor, to hit both of them. So even if that didn't hit, it did give me the value of removing the dodge, which is big. So that way I can pretty much guarantee a hit there. And Sightless Miasma didn't stick there, so excellent. We can toss a Plague Grenade. That's giving us a great start now. We are going to have to eat some bleeds and some stress and possibly some blinds from up here. If I had some bleed mitigation, it'd be a really good time to be using it. But right now, I do not. Killing the altar is probably my priority at this point. Generally, I usually consider it the best priority for this team or for any team, especially because of how potent, like right now, if I was really relying on trying to kill the Evangelist first and foremost, I've now been axed out of being able to hit one of them, so let's just go ahead and remove the thing that's giving them those buffs, shall we? Go ahead and put the damage here, and then I'm going to... So Alchemist is already killed here, almost killed there. That should do the ticket. 6, yeah. So now they're both dead. Fantastic. We've removed the backline completely, and we're on round 2, so that's a good start for us. This does mean, though, that we are going to eat a crit from this Evangelist. I am accepting that fate. So, a bit annoying, but I can definitely deal with the amount of damage that it's putting out. So I'm really not worried about it. Gonna go ahead and stand fast here. We're gonna get those block plus tokens. Let's eat less damage if we can avoid it. And now I just need to figure out what it is I want to do. So let's go for this one. This will remove the block token, and then we can just start putting in some damage here. Open vein. Bleed did stick. We do get the double crit here. That's the more annoying, is when they go for the AoE crit. They almost always go for the AoE crit, but we're a little bit stressed out now. I'm at the stress threshold. Let's keep his stress down. So we'll go ahead and reduce his stress. I can heal off a lot of what's going on here. Now he's feeling back in tip-top shape. So she is defiant, so she's actually out, or basically pacing the bleed at this point, so I'm really not super worried about it. So let's think about this. Can I do 7 damage of anything? If there's something that can do 7 damage, this is likely to. That means that we've now killed that one, right? The bleed is there. The damage will take care of it. That's really solid. So definitely a good thing to keep in mind there. I don't think I need to slow them down anymore, so let's just start putting some damage. A little bit of stress there, but nothing that we can't handle. Yeah, so we're basically keeping toe-to-toe with that bleed. That's how powerful Defiant is. It's just giving us an option to not even worry about that bleed, realistically, on such a squishy hero, too, which is really, really nice. Now, there's a block token here, but we're going to be applying bleed, so I don't really mind the block token. And again, really, my goal here is to try and do that 4 damage before it's its turn. I can't stress heal here because we're not at the threshold, so no point. And now we've gone ahead, it's dead. So we have effectively ended this fight. Let's go ahead and Dead of Night here just to recover as much as we can, get that little bit of healing, so I don't have to worry about that in the inn as much. And we might as well just go for the kill.
A lesson taught is a lesson learned.
And there we go. That's the first region done. I think we're in pretty good position. We got ourselves some mastery points here, or a mastery point. Dark Impulse, Burn Resist. I won't say no to Burn Resist. It doesn't really help us out that much, except we are going to the Sprawl, so that Burn Resist can actually be really potent for us. So that's actually a really good item for us to get. So we're going to be getting to the first inn now. Definitely time to rest and recuperate. This is a really good time to kind of evaluate your team, figure out where their weaknesses are. You've definitely had enough time, or should have had enough time at this point, to really evaluate if the team that you're playing with really, really works. If you need to leave, now's the time to leave. But generally speaking, you can probably fix any team that's made it to this point pretty effectively. We do end up with blundering. That's a bit annoying. Really, the vulnerable is the biggest thing. Hopefully, we're not going to be moving that much. We can try to get rid of that, but it's okay. So we get 2 mastery points. It's not terrible. It's not amazing. It's not terrible. I will absolutely take it. As far as picking here, I don't really have a choice, but it is good to know what we're going to be dealing with. So we have a higher chance for Meltdown. And if we visit the creature den, we get food barrels. There's really no prerogative to take the creature den outside of mastery points, because the food barrels is going to do very, very little for us at this point, this late in the run. I will go ahead, take a look at my baubles here. I'm just going to go ahead and spend the money to repair that. We'll toss on this item because it's not hurting us to have it. And unfortunately, they did kick us out of getting something like the Greater Wolf's Blood, but it is what it is. I would rather have the Stagecoach upgraded than anything else. So let's take a look at our relationships. That is my next most important thing, because it is going to set us up for success or failure. So we have some really high chances for positive relationships, some very low chances for negative relationships. I'm fine with that. But we do have one relationship that is solidly in the blue territory, which means it is a 0% chance for a positive relationship, but I can use 1 whiskey in order to get that up. So Paracelsus and Barristan, let's go ahead and give you what you need. Okay, so that puts us from 38% chance of negative to a 10% chance. Now, let's take a look. These whiskey bottles can give us a 3 up or a 2 down. So where am I comfortable using these? Anywhere where that 2 down is not going to cause us a problem. So if we go 2 down on Paracelsus and Audrey, we stay in the same area. We stay in that neutral territory. But if we go 3 up, we go into the green or the gold. So Paracelsus and Audrey, let's give you guys a go. Fortunate. That's fine. And then nobody else is really that comfortable. If I'm going to go for anybody, it'd be Audrey and Dismas, because if it goes down, it at least only goes into the neutral. So we'll try. I wouldn't normally recommend doing this, but that did pay off for us. That's great. And we do have one more whiskey. Is there anybody who we might be able to move up? Now, that whiskey could double proc. And, of course, we do have gold, so we can afford another 2 whiskey flasks and a pipe weed, as well as a dartboard. So 1, 2, 3, possibly 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, yeah, I have basically 4, maybe 5 pips that I can go up.
Continue.
Is there anybody that I can... I'm clicking all the wrong buttons here. Is there anybody I can get up with, like, 4? No... Well, actually, yes. Audrey and Barristan. Let's go for that. So I always recommend buying one at a time, because one of them could roll a crit, and it could double proc. Not get the double proc, that's fine. We'll take the pipe weed. I don't mind the slowing down.
Something to ease the rigors of the road.
Great. And at this point, I should make sure I buy the rest of my food before I forget. And debuff resist, let's give on the back row that I really want to make sure that they're hitting. I don't really care about the Book of Creative Insults. The Impermeable Poultice is going to do nothing for us in the Sprawl, realistically. So now let's think about what we want to go ahead and upgrade here. I'm going to say Plague Grenade, because this is a huge damage output ability for us. And then let's go with Pistol Shot. We pretty much have spent all of our money at this point. There's no clarifying poultices, so alas, we're not really going to get any benefit from anything like that. Let's take a look at what combat items we do have. We do have all of those ablative powders. That's fantastic. Is there anything else that might help us with the burn? I do see the burn salve here, but that's a lot of relics for only one item we're going to be able to afford. So let's keep those 10 relics and hope that maybe we can get a good nest egg of relics going in to the next inn. And yeah, let's go for it. So we get 3 relationships here. If you haven't already, there is an option to turn on this button. If you go to Options, Game, and go to Embark Reveal Relationships button, you can get this button that just reveals all of our relationships. So we did get 1 negative. That's unfortunate. Let's take a look here. Strategic Withdrawal, we're not going to be using. Pick to the Face will give us a Strength token. Very, very cool. Take Aim will give us Stress Reduction. Dead of Night will give us Stress Reduction. Stand Fast and Noxious Blast will give Taunt, respectively, and Vulnerable. Not great. These are both abilities that we are going to be using frequently. So we're just going to have to be a little bit cautious about how we use those abilities. But we are lucky in the sense that they're abilities that we want. So I will definitely say using them is almost always better than not using them if it's the ability we should be picking. This is kind of a very convoluted way of saying that, but I'd rather get an ability like that I'm more than likely going to be wanting to use than one that's going to be dead on my toolbar. I don't always have to use those abilities, but they will be useful for a lot of things. So let's take a look at where we're going. I don't really care to do the Creature Den. I don't think we're going to get too much out of it besides mastery points, and that's really just not something I super duper need at this point. That being said, a Watchtower is always good. Hoarder isn't going to help us. Academic Study for the Broken Clock. This can give us the Sundial or the Oversprung Pocket Watch. Oversprung Pocket Watch is a better item, but especially because we have heroes that do have good stun resist. But Sundial is also fine. So I think that's a good option for us. Then we get a fight. Then we get, most likely, go for another fight. We could go for the cash. Then we end up with a Hoarder. The cash could be good if we want to get some money before we go to the Hoarder. Another fight, or we go for a question mark. We'll see how we're feeling, but I definitely want to be going in for the Watchtower and then to the Academic Study first.
Myriad options require careful.
It's a lot of talking. I talk a lot in my runs and streams, but it's definitely very much focusing on as much talking as I can do. Definitely a yapping content. Again, if this is something that you enjoy, please leave a comment down below. Take the time to just say, this is what I enjoy. I really like this style. Please do this more. Whatever the case is. Because if I don't get that feedback, I'm not going to know. And I'm going to say, it didn't really do very well, so I won't do it again. Another hospital here. And then we could go for that hospital. We do have some money, but it's not enough, I think, to justify. And because of that scouting, I now know that we do have another hospital. So think I'm going to go for the academic study. We do have a fight on the way. Fights are not intrinsically bad. You shouldn't just be avoiding fights because they're annoying or difficult. You should be going for them as much as you can. This is a bandit fight, so you never know what you're going to get in a bandit fight. Again, double hatchetman and double crack shot. Bit of an annoying fight, to say the least, but nothing we can't handle. So let's just go ahead and take out the back line as quickly as possible. I'm going to go ahead and use that plague grenade. That has eliminated one of them immediately. And I'm going to go for Defender here. These guys are only going to hit the front ranks anyway, realistically, so we'll go ahead and Defender her, because she is the squishiest. Let's see if we can get enough damage, though, to get a kill. No. Close, though. We might get front mortared here, and that's absolutely okay. We're only going to take, what, 2 damage from there. To get moved, that's absolutely fine. We didn't get stunned, and that's really the important thing, so. All in all, we mitigated a lot of damage there, and stopped a lot of damage as well, so absolutely a great start, in my opinion. We'll go for it. This guy is dead, so let's not put any more damage there. There's really no reason to be doing that. Just gonna go ahead and put that taunt on him, so that's fine. In fact, we can just go ahead and then use Stand Fast. He'll go ahead and remove the taunt. He'll get 1 block plus, because the 2 will cancel out. And that's that actually works in our favor. We can actually use that taunt to our advantage sometimes if we're smart about it, so. And now we just get the damage here. Don't need to heal her at all, so don't really need to use ddII. Very nice there. Almost enough to kill. Not quite. And he's dead. So, pretty good little fight there. Nothing too crazy. Okay, a little bit of relics and money there. I mean, everything adds up, so don't be discarding it if you doesn't feel like enough, because there are definitely plenty of times where 2 relics or 4 baubles or something can be the make or break on a team for sure. Just going through, getting all this debris. Never know what he's going to pick up. Let's see what we get for this. I'm hoping for the Oversprung Pocket Watch. But I'll take Sundial if we get it. Oversprung Pocket Watch, very nice. Now, this is a pretty interesting item. This is actually one of the items we talked about at the beginning that can help us out because it gives us extra actions, so it can kind of help mitigate that stun issue. This does have a 50-50 chance that they give you an extra action or give you stun. So, that stun can be resisted. And I definitely think our 60% resist stun hero back here is going to get the most value out of it. That being said, I can now take the Anchoring Charm, which is still very useful on my Man-at-Arms, but I can give it here. We're up to 80% stun resist, and that's huge. Healing given from skills, this is going to go on the wayside now. Disarming Dagger. Let's go ahead and give this to our Grave Robber, because you can use this on flashing daggers. And I should be putting this on somebody. Let's go ahead and give it to our tank. That way he has just a 80% chance to resist a lot of the burns that are coming into his face. That Protector isn't going to do very much for us now, but that's fine because I think extra actions are generally more worth the difference there. So if we can get 1 Clarifying Poultice, we can pretty much make it so that even if the Trinket procs the stun, it's not going to do anything. So she either gets all of her actions, or sometimes she gets more. That's a lot of value on somebody like Paracelsus, who is just pumping out damage and also pumping out heals. So I am very happy with that combination. Everybody wants to take this fight, that's good. We're just going to go for the one that gives us the vulnerable. Like, why wouldn't we? It's the best decision, and everybody's going to get positive relationship chance out of that. We do have elite enemies here, which is scary, especially with Pit Fighter. I do not like the Pit Fighter. So let's take a look at what we've got going on here. Widow can stun us. She can also give us Horror. The Whipper can actually give himself, he can set himself ablaze, and then he can AoE burn our whole team. But this guy does get stronger the longer we keep him alive. So it really comes down to, can we kill these others quickly enough that it's worth trying to kill them, like, right now? And I'm going to say generally yes. I think we can kill the front row and the back row very, very quickly to the point where we can just pretty much immediately focus on the Pit Fighter anyway. So we're really not, like, missing out on, like, anything. And, oh, we get the hit there. That's really nice. So she's dead anyway. Pit Fighter's going to go ahead and get his 1 hit in anyway and get that kill. So we've already eliminated everything else in round 1. Perfect. That's great. So now I can focus down the Pit Fighter. This guy is scary as he kind of stacks up that burn. He stacks up that speed. it very, very quickly becomes a problem. So you want to eliminate this guy pretty quickly, honestly. That being said, sometimes he's really hard to focus down first, so it just kind of boils down to knowing what your team can do and making the decision that works best. I could kill those ads very quickly, especially with that vulnerable token to start off with. So for me, it was just better to kill the ads first. And we're resisting those burns there, so we're seeing that value from the cultist token there for sure. Probably should have just gone for the one that was going to put him down the death's door there. Like, double tap was probably the better option to get another death armor hit out of that, but it's already dead. Nothing really worth doing here, so we'll just go for the kill. We get a crit out of it. Maybe we got the stress reduction, so we're able to remove that threat very quickly, but that could have been a really scary team for us to take on. Okay, interesting find here. Enlightening Element. We're not getting the speed quite yet that we want from this, but we do get the burn value from it, which is totally fine. And Minor Clotting Cure doesn't actually help us realistically. I'm actually going to leave this item. It's taking up space, and it's lowering our burn resist, which in this area doesn't help us out very much. It does increase our bleed resist, so it might be good against cultist fights, but I just think that that's a very small benefit right now. Take a look at what we got. This is a safe route, which could be very good for us, especially because this will just mean, I mean, we're not going to get, if we go this way, we're not going to get we could end up with, let's avoid that. Plus, they want to go this way. Increase our torchlight a little bit by going for this assistance encounter. And, in fact, it's a militia, so it could repair our stagecoach, which is just saved money in the long run. So I like saved money. Saved money is good. I can use it to spend on things that I can help kill a boss with, which is very important. So, I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna put for the thumbnail on this video, like just me yapping.
Their desperation can be eased.
This is kind of a rough one. So we can make them agree, but we can kill our torchlight for some free food. I'm actually gonna hit our relationships. They're in decent shape for the most part, and I'm just gonna take that armor because it is baubles. It does save us money. A little, maybe not the right call, but now this is double loathing if I go this way. Can be very detrimental. But there's a lot of fights this way. I'm gonna take the double loathing and hope that we can get. We're 57 baubles. This cash could really put us in a great position for that that hoarder. So I'm gonna take the hit on the loathing, and hopefully this pans out for the best. We'll have to just kind of see what happens, right? That's the way it goes. This is where I now check all my random. Oh my god, there's like so many people messaging me. It's crazy. I'm so popular. Okay, so Academic's cash here. We had some relics, we got some baubles. Thunderclap grenade, amazing. Neutralizing powders, fine. Do get a clarifying poultice, amazing. Apples and cheese, good. Medical equipment. This is actually one of the few items that we can get some benefit out of, even on the mountain. And parrying Patriarch. Now, parrying Patriarch could be very good if we wanted to go repartee. I'm gonna take this. If we end up going repartee on our grave robber, or even just repartee or absinthe, right? We can use both of those, and then we don't really need to upgrade them, because the benefit you get out of upgrading it is the dodge. Now, repartee will give us 3 dodge plus, which is great, but then I don't need to worry about using our upgrades realistically. Like, I can basically just get a free upgrade out of it, and that's pretty good. I like that. So that's a really potent item for us to find, honestly. So we'll go for the Hoarder here. And that was lucky because we had a high likelihood of getting like Laden Lantern or Tinderbox from that, which are, you know, very good for burn heroes, but we don't have any burn heroes, so that really wouldn't have helped us out very much. All right, Mr. Hoarder, what you got? We can afford anything we want. I see some very good options here. Undeserved Commendation is very, very good if you have a Sergeant Man-at-Arms, because he can basically give everybody lock, taunt, crit. It's great. We're not running that. What I do see that I really like the look of, though, is that early experiment. And I also see another Clarifying Poultice, which I'm absolutely going to snag right now. Early experiment gives us additional 2 blight dealt on with noxious items. That's really potent. Do we have a noxious item? No. Make sure nobody else has one. I don't think we do. Is there one here for sale? No. So, we take a risk here. The risk being that this pretty much is nonsensical to take unless we have a noxious item. So we have to hope that we can find one. I think it's worth the risk. I'm going to take that risk.
Power in such a little thing.
It's even worth taking off Anchoring Charm and then just giving her the 2 Clarifying Poultices. If we can make that work, we're going to be feeling really, really good. So, we're not going to get... I'm going to go to the right. We're not going to get a noxious item from the hospital, but I don't think we really want the fights right now, so... Again, we could go for the mastery points, but I think we're honestly doing okay on mastery points, and pairing Patriarch has basically allowed us to not need to upgrade a couple things, so I'm very much okay with that. I want to be going into our next fight like as in a very good position, so... And we can basically avoid... We could take those fights if we wanted to, but I'm going to most likely avoid them. No noxious items. I knew this would be the case. That's fine. Let's take a look at our wellness. Is there anything we really want to get rid of? Phantosphobic is annoying. Cultphobic is annoying. Lazy, let's get rid of. And I would normally get rid of Blundering, but she's not going to be moving very much. So let's, at least hopefully she's not going to be moving very much. Let's kind of just go past it. All right. So now we know that there's nothing before us. There's no fights. So we'll just let the stagecoach roll its course. We do know that it is a Cultist fight coming up, so I don't need Burn Salve. Isn't going to do anything for me. Thunderclap Grenade can definitely take. This is a good... putting Cultists out of position is one of the best ways to deal with them. Now, it depends if we get a Deacon or a Cardinal here. Cardinal is a little less prone to having problems with being shuffled around. Deacon, on the other hand, if you shuffle him around, he pretty much hates it, so we're fine with that. We get the 30 Torchlight there, that's fine. Relationships are going to need a little work. I am a little scared about relationships. Now, I did speedily take a look at that and didn't really do anything with it, but we now have 4 foods. That's great. Fantastic. We're looking pretty good. We're looking very good, actually. I'm happy with this. Not always going to get everything you want in this game, and that is definitely one of the things, like, you know, if our relationships are suffering, but I've got a lot of really, really good items. You know, it's hard to get everything to go off right all the time, always. So, like Darkest Dungeon has always been, it is about making the best of your situation and just working with it as best you can. So that's what we're doing. This is a Deacon, excellent. So Thunderclap Grenade is actually going to go really hard for us here. Alternate Denial does mean that we're going to be likely to have some issues with stealth, so I don't like that. We'll go ahead and Warhorn here. The Herald is probably my highest threat enemy right now. First Trumpet is very annoying. It can be extremely detrimental to our team. We did not get the Blight there, but that's okay. We'll just go ahead and finish it off anyway. So we've removed the Herald, and now all this guy is going to be able to do is Flesh from Bone, so I'm not super worried about that. Let's just go ahead and hit down the altar. You don't want to leave the altar till last, because it will explode, and we don't like that. He's already got Taunt on him, and he's going to get Flesh from Bone, which is a weak attack as far as physical damage goes. So I'm just going to slow the enemy down. I'm not worried about him getting hit with, like, you know, it's like 6 damage and a bleed, so the bleed is the more threatening part of that. Ooh, very nice. Is that dead? Close. Very, very close. There we go. Big crit to just make things feel good for us. And now we just focus down the Deacon. So we didn't have to worry about the worship there. And now we can see these extra actions in play as well, so that's very, very cool. And Deacon in the back row doesn't really know what to do. He's just going to do Weight of the Worlds, and he's going to do Flesh and Bone, so that's about it. A little bit of stress there, but nothing too crazy. Let's see. Are we low? No, I don't think we're at double tap health now, but we are now, so that's good. Then go ahead. We'll kill a corpse. And some Blight going here. 12 damage there, so... At this point, like, there's really... I can't do 10 damage here, so I'm kind of just... It's kind of wasted damage. Like, he's going to go down to Death's Door anyway, so unless I can do 10 damage, I'm not going to do any damage to him. I'm just going to put some block on myself and call it a day, right? Because by putting... If I put that 6 damage into him, then the Blight's just going to hit him down to Death's Door you know, it does this. He's gonna be in the same position. It's not gonna make any difference. So there's literally no reason to go ahead and do any damage there. We just go ahead and give ourselves support ability, give ourselves some block plus, and make sure that we take less damage from his Sundering Steel. So all in all, I think that was the best play there.
In this weighty gloom, a spark.
Silent treatment. Interesting. We'll take it. We'll kind of see if we want to build something around it. We do have a Cultist trinket, so we could go for silent treatment and see if we can get lots and lots of crits on Audrey. May not be the best call because there's a lot of AoE damage in this final fight, so stealth isn't super useful because of the fact that the locks can usually just hit 2 people and just ignore the stealth mechanic in general. So that being said, as long as she's stealth, she's not going to take any extra damage, but if she's not stealth, she's going to take a shit ton of damage. That could be really bad for us. We get the good doctor here. Interesting. We have no diseases, but
more perhaps for the restless soul.
Can we get a noxious item? Doesn't look like we're gonna get one. Ah, that's so unfortunate. So early experiment was kind of a bad gamble there, but at the end of the day, it's okay. I think realistically though, okay, so if we can get his speed up, then we can do this and he'll get dodge plus generation, which is really good. Or we can give Pairing Patriarch to her, and then we can give her Repartee instead of Dead of Night. I think that's probably the better call. It's just a more reliable way of dealing it. And if we get a speed up, then at least he gets dodge plus. Can we get a speed up? Nope. Yes. Let's take a look at food first. Okay, so we are going to the mountain. We have full food. We're okay on food. Relationships are probably going to be the biggest issue because we have multiple relationships that are semi-negative here. So let's get the whiskey barrel and let's get the songbook. It's gonna just hope this goes the best way for us. Okay, that was a gamble that paid off. Pretty much everybody is now in neutral or higher. Nobody is in the dumps. Amazing. So now we go for that songbook. So this has increased his speed to 7. Ugh. Dang it, I really thought we could get a speed there, but we can't. That's unfortunate. I have nothing that's going to increase his speed. That was kind of a waste. That was a misplay, so I should have done the math in my head. For some reason, I thought he had 6 speed, not 5. I don't have any trinkets that increase speed right now. That's unfortunate. Oh well. That was kind of a waste of money, but I mean, good. I mean, speed is always good. Like, so it's not a complete waste of money. It's just an unfortunate situation. We are going to go ahead and give her the one clarifying poultice, though. That's going to put her to 120% stun resist. She is now immune to stun. Amazing. Fantastic. Who else do I want to give a stun poultice to? Probably going to be the man-arms. Why? Because this gets them pretty much to 90%. And now our defender is going to be really good at being able to just deal with what's going on. We're going to give everybody else the apples and cheese, and then the man-arms is going to get the stale bread because I care less about his debuff resist. We do give him some additional taunt, can be pretty good for this. This impermeable poultice can be okay for us. Let's just give it to the Plague Doctor, make her pretty much immune. And then as far as the stealth goes, sure. Trinket-wise, I don't think we're going to end up using Silent Treatment, but we could end up using Dead Ringer here. Yeah, sure, why not? Daze is never a bad option. Now, we are pretty much low on money, so let's think about what we want to go ahead and upgrade here. Let's go ahead and upgrade our heal. Just the heal is always a good option to have. Wainwright, we're not going to be able to get anything fully upgraded, so I'm just going to leave it at this. We're not going to lower any further, so there's no point in putting anything else into it. But getting rid of that... actually, I didn't even need to upgrade the 1, honestly, because there's no ambushes on these road fights, so... I think we're okay here. At this point, I can get 2 laudanums. Let's take it. I mean, sure, the game's just telling me to spend my money, so we'll spend it and let's go to the mountain. I think we're as ready as we're going to be. I think we definitely have a good chance of taking this on and having very little issue with this fight. This is to hope our relationships go in the better direction. All positive. Fantastic. No amorous, but we do have some stress reduction here. There's some dodge plus there. Amazing. There's some stress reduction there. There's some strength here. And dodge plus there. Lots of dodge plus. I love dodge plus. I'll take dodge plus every day of the week.
last the great ziggurat, temple of failure and regret.
Okay. Alright, so we do have one fight on the mountain. And then we'll get to where we want to go. But hey, if you've enjoyed this content, if you've liked the whole over-explaining thing, and this is definitely the kind of content that you want to see, and you want to see me do more of this over-explaining as I do a run, hey, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. Biggest thing, though, leave a like. More likes mean I know that people like this kind of video. This is going to be a bit shorter than a normal run, because it is Act 1. The fact that I managed to stretch this out to an hour and 15 minutes is pretty impressive, in my opinion. But if you want me to see me do this with other acts and do this kind of thing more often, please let me know. It just tells me that this is what you want. And if I don't know that this is what you want, I'm not going to do it. So let's get it. Hey, look at that. We have a lot of options here. Let's take the candle option because it doesn't hurt us to take any candles at this point. That's why I have them. So let's go for it. It's going to give us a great starting option here. A lot of damage that we can go ahead and toss. And I'm just going to go ahead and kill the Herald immediately. Vulnerable plus crit. Amazing combo. Now let's use this Thunderclap Grenade. We'll get that altar right where we want to see it. Go ahead and toss an open vein there. We get the additional bleed, and we got the burn from the lightning element, so that's a great start for us. Look at that. And yeah, I see this, that she's got taunt up, so I'm just going to go ahead and defend her. And now we are forcing the damage pretty much into him. Anyway, Plague Grenade was not the correct one there. My abilities got swapped around because of the negative relationship we had last time, and I forgot to swap them into the right order, so I hit the wrong one there. That's not the end of the world. It's fine. 16 damage. Now, you will notice that he doesn't have his normal, like, take 50% less damage from melee or ranged abilities, and that is because we are on Act 1. In Act 1, he does not get that ability. I believe he doesn't even get it until Act 3, so Act 3 is when cultists really start to ramp up in their difficulty. The block generation goes from regular block to block plus. The dodge generation goes to dodge plus. So it definitely makes a big difference once you get to that point. But man, look at all this damage. We're now at 12 damage that he's taking. Absolutely huge there, and all because of the fact that she's getting extra actions. So really, really big difference there. Pistol shots. Now he's gone and died. Fantastic. Looking pretty good there. I like that. So before we go into the boss fight, we're going to go ahead and check all of our abilities, and we're going to check all of our combat items. This is something you should always get in the habit of doing because you never know if there's something you just don't realize you need to swap out. We've already swapped in Repartee for Dead of Night. So that was the big one. I think we should be okay otherwise. We're going to have a slew of different abilities that we can use in different situations. Let's take a look at our combat items. This is going to be the next thing we want to take a look at here. So blind is going to be something that we want to ignore. We're definitely going to want those smelling salts in case somebody gets stunned that we really want. Stimulants for the strength, absolutely, sure thing. And then healing salve. Those are going to be things that are all relevant throughout pretty much the entirety of the fight. Do keep in mind, though, that the locking you out of certain things can lock you out of using combat items. So if you're locked out of healing, you will not be able to use your healing salve. In fact, you won't even get healed from a resolute. If you've got the healing lock active and you resolute, you will not heal. You won't heal from toxic if you're on the healing lock as well. So this is something you should keep in mind. I've definitely had times where I've tried to rely on going toxic to heal because my flag's at really low health and it doesn't pan out the way I want it to. So let's take a look at the order of operations here. We spawn them in a pretty good combination. They can spawn in different combinations. Again, I do have a guide for this fight if you want a bit more in-depth knowledge here. But realistically, I think we're just going to focus down the front lock. I think that they're in a good order for us here. I might go front lock and then healing lock. It does pay to keep in mind that each one of these locks does something when they die. So if you don't want to distribute all the damage and then kill the healing lock because the healing lock will heal everything. But I think that we're in a good enough place that I'm just going to focus down the... I'm going to focus down the melee lock first and then go from there. I think that's going to be a strong way for us to start off here. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. I'm going to go ahead and put Standfast up. I do want him tanking. That is important. And just, dodging everything we can. So I'm locked out of ranged, right? So that's something we got to keep in mind here. It's likely that we're going to get melee. Nah, I'm just going to go ahead and give him strength. So again, having something that I can do every round is important. Of course, the extra action might come back to bite me in the butt on her for that very specific situation there, so you never know. Okay, we resisted there, which is great. Okay, so not the strongest start, but Defiant's going to help us out. We're locked out of healing right now. That's absolutely fine. I would recommend not leaving the healing lock till the end, because then you don't have the ability to heal. Whichever one you lock out till the end or leave till the end is going to be the one thing that you can't do for the remainder of the fight. So if you lock yourself out of that, you're going to be SOL for a pretty long time. Let's go ahead and just repartee here. Going to get that dodge plus. That's excellent. Yeah, I'm just going to focus down the melee lock as best I can. Extra action now. Yeah, we're doing a lot of damage here. Of course, she doesn't dodge it. There's a cat next to me now. She doesn't dodge it again. So don't rely on dodge too much. It can be pretty bad for you to do that. We assisted that burn. That's nice. Probably should have swapped this out for something else, honestly, now that I think about it. Okay, no more melee, so that's going to be slightly problematic. But we might as well just put some damage in the range lock then and say that that's going to be the next one we're going to kill. Ooh, a little spooky here on the amount of damage going on here. I'm going to go ahead and defender him because he's feeling a little squishy right now. Gives us that block +2, which is really good. All right, let's go ahead and we can counter that strength token. That's going to be good for us. And let's go ahead again. We'll just focus down the double crits though. That's really nice. We're already halfway on health on that one. See, we're resisting all of these stuns really, really strong there. Just gonna go ahead and heal him because I think he's a little squishy right now. 8, 10 damage. If I do 3 damage, okay, right? So that one's dead now. So we're good there. We don't need to put any more damage into that one. Yeah, I think we're just gonna kill him in order of operations here. We've got a really good spawn for ourselves here. Once we get rid of the range lock, after this, we'll be able to do damage all the time for anybody, so... These ones will die pretty quick after each other because of this fact that we were able to do a lot of damage to it really quickly, so...
Is no time to falter.
That blind is a bit annoying. But we'll be okay. Resisted that stuns, that's good. These guys are a whole different set of enemies against when you have the beacon on. Beacon makes this a whole different fight. Denial of reasons we can't stress heal. Do keep in mind abilities that stress heal as well as heal, so if you're running like a leper and he's doing solemnity, can't use solemnity on either the heal lock or the stress heal lock because it does both. So that can be really detrimental if you're not keeping that in mind, because you basically have twice the chance of an ability to get locked out, especially if it's an ability that you're really, really relying on. So I'm going to stand fast here again. We just want to try to be putting as much damage into him. It is important that we focus, you know, that tanking skill of his. That bleeds, it's a kill. It does not get the bleed, unfortunately. She had a taunt token on her. So there's our first stun of the run. See, the AoE here makes the the thing about the AoE is it makes the taunt a little less useful here because it can kind of just choose where it wants to hit. That being said, though, we do get really good value out of IS here finally because now we can remove the stun and get a heal out of it. Fantastic. In fact, we can even get another heal out of this if we really wanted to. Yeah, let's go ahead and heal here. Nice dodge. Love that. That Defiant just slowly healing her up. We love it. So now we can't heal. Defiant will also not proc because of that, so something to keep in mind. All right, so they do get plus 20% damage and plus 10% crit. Those are the two things it's getting from the other locks having died now. So now we're going to focus the healing lock. That is absolutely where we want to be putting our damage now. We do not want to let this thing be the last one alive, because otherwise we will not be able to heal and we'll run into a pretty sticky situation, honestly. But here we go, getting all that extra action goodness out of this, out of our Plague Doctor here. Just so much damage that we're able to mitigate pretty much. And that guard just coming in super clutch with that dodge plus. Can't complain about that. So as you can see, we're now shifting. So we take that smelling salt to get rid of that stun. So we're now really heavily shifting the action economy into our favor. This fight generally does get easier the further into it you get, or the more kills into it you get, just because now we're just able to wail on them. 8. Almost dead. I'll go ahead and use this healing salve, and we'll just toss a little bit of damage in there. That should be enough to kill it. And now we can start the next one. This one, when it dies, it's going to heal this one, but it won't get rid of the dots. So, you know, yeah, it healed it up, but we still get, you know, a couple rounds of dots on it, so. But now, because this is the final lock, we will not be able to stress heal for the remainder of the fight, so that is something to keep in mind. It can definitely be problematic. And this guy gets 20% damage and 10% crit for the rest of the fight, which can be really detrimental as well, so. We could go for the heal. At this point, though, we're just going to kind of power through it. And just remove this thing from being alive, because it's only going to get 1 turn, so. And you can see, just spamming that denial of reason there. 23 health to go. Up to 16, so we've now killed it. That's a GG. And yeah, that's how you go ahead and take care of the Shackles of Denial. Really solid team for that, just super robust in its ability to do different kinds of damage and kind of take care of whatever situation you've got going on. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this kind of Overexplain content. Again, I know I've said it a few times in the video, but do leave a like and definitely leave a comment. Let me know if this is the kind of thing you'd like to see more of. So that way, it does take a lot of effort on me to be talking like this, but I'm more than happy to do it. I love kind of giving my strategy on stuff and really showing off, hey, I've been playing this game for quite a long time now, so it's been almost 3 years since it came out in early access. It's crazy. But thank you all for watching. I appreciate y'all. I'll catch y'all in the next video. Bye-bye.